Hi everyone, my name is Victor Sandifer, and I own a clothing line called Run the World Clothing, or Run the World by Victor Sandifer. The way I got started with my clothing line, I had just graduated college, and I was helping one of my mentors be a teacher assistant for a summer bridge class, which is a class for incoming freshmen. And there was a literature class, and in that class, we were reading this book called The Alchemist. And so while reading the book called The Alchemist, I started to think about for myself, what was I passionate about? What was what they called in that book, your personal legend? And I started to think about what my personal legend was, and I didn't want to say it because my mentor had asked me, he was like, what is the one thing that you like to do or are good at that you can do effortlessly? And one of those things for me was style and clothing. And I found myself in all my spare time throughout college Googling people like David Beckham and Googling people like Kanye West just to see like what they were wearing. And that was kind of preparing me for what I'm doing today. So after that, I decided, you know what, I want to take this on. I want to try to do this. And I initially started off as a style consultant, and then I spawned that off to my own styling website, so a blog I carried. And then after that, I was like, you know what, like I really want to do something in clothing. And so I went and found as many people as I knew who had clothing lines, and I took meetings with them. I bought as many books as I could from Barnes & Noble, and I started researching what exactly entailed for a clothing line. And in 2014, I felt comfortable enough to launch my first product. I launched a T-shirt and a hoodie first. And from there, I just started putting out small pieces while alone having a job. So at that time, when I initially started, I was working at Youth Radio in downtown Oakland, which is a media literacy training program, and I was the program coordinator for the education and career program. So I mentored and put programs on for the students to go to college. So building college awareness and college. Building college readiness for the students. So that was really fun, but in that I was using all the money that I was making to fund my projects. And so in 2014, I got a better job, well, not a better job in the sense of like what I was doing, but a better job in terms of the money. And I worked at UC Berkeley as a program coordinator for the African American Student Development Office there. And from there, I started working, I started making a little bit more money, was able to put a lot more money into my company. From there, I met people like Bo, who was from Youth Business USA, and I became one of the entrepreneurs for YBUSA, and he started helping me in terms of like making what I was doing, like the clothes I was putting on, and actually creating the structure and a business. And so since then, in 2016, which is kind of what Bo tells me, I'm kind of like the prototype for entrepreneurship. I felt comfortable enough to leave my job, and I left my job in July 15th, I know the date, July 15th, 2016 is when I left my job, and I took my clothing line full time. And with that, in order to raise some capital, because I didn't have a lot of capital at the time, I still don't have a lot, but relatively speaking, I went through the platform Kiva Zip. And so if everyone knows what Kiva Zip is, sorry, I don't have to explain it for you. So with Kiva Zip, I was able to raise $10,000 by the end of August. And in November, I launched my full collection, my first full collection, doing this full time. And by the end of November, I made all the money back. And so I started to see a lot of growth like very soon. Well, it wasn't very quickly, but relatively quickly. But that's kind of how I got started. And lastly, I'll just say, in between that time of July and November, I started to drive Lyft. So that was one of the ways in which I like supplemented income. But I only did it when I needed to. So I didn't do it all the time. I only did it when I felt like I needed to pay a bill, or I felt like I wanted to go on a trip or something.